Part 1 of the G's Country Kitchen story, Maurice Russell tells us everything that happened on the day that he was arrested. On Part 2, we're going to get a little deeper. He's going to tell us everything that he talked to his lawyer about, every deal that they tried to give him, everything they threw his way, and ultimately the sentence that he took.
Sitting up there that night, right? And I ain't getting you no information. They get mad. So we had probably been up about 4 hours. So let's bag it up. Probably after I had been up there about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, I heard somebody come through the door, man, crying, hollering. Man, it was my wife. Man, it was so bad, I felt this big, man. And here it is, time's winding down. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock. They had did what they did, so they were like, okay, what we gonna do with it? So the lead investigator like, take his ass to jail. And they like, what about his bond? Make his bond $1.5 million.
Man.
Make his wife $200,000. They take us to the county jail, and we getting out the car. Just so happened one of the correction officers that worked there, as I was coming through the door, it had hit the news, pretty much every local news station that night.
I'm already here.
And when I walked through the door, she was just like, I thought you quit. He said, no. I said, look, I ain't got time for no interview, man. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get me and my wife out of this place.
Yeah.
She said, I could lose my job over what I'm about to do. She said, look, you take this and you call this person right here. I said, man, my bond $1.5 million. Ain't nobody finna touch me. She said, your bond don't mean nothing to this dude. When I get in there and I call, just so happened, he the one to pick up the phone tonight. And I was just like, he said, Gary Mountain, how can I help you? I said, man, I'm in jail over here, man, and my bond $1.5 million, my wife $200,000. He said, I'll be there in 30 minutes, man.
That's a $1.5 million bond. Like, dang.
So when the conversation ended, he was just like, I'm on my way, bro.
Yeah.
So he come and he was telling me, he was explaining to me, he said, listen, man, by your bond tells me a whole lot about who you are as a person. We know you didn't tell on nobody, because if your bond, if you would tell nobody, you wouldn't even have a bond. They'd let you went that night to work something out. He said, but by your bond being $1.5 million, let me know you're a solid brother. He said, had I left you up there, man, they were going to run in and out the cell all night, the police, the narcotics agent, trying to make it seem like you snitching, like you getting them information. He said, you can best help yourself by being out.
Yeah.
So he came, got me and my wife, gave us a ride to the house. House just in disarray, they done tore it all up, man, just messed it up. I didn't sleep that night, you know what I'm saying? I'm so pissed off at the dude that done this, crazy thoughts going through my head and all this.
Yeah, I know that.
So
Crazy.
The shame I'm asking my daughter, about, man, I'm sorry for what I done. But the good of it was when my daughter told me this, man. I said, man, I'm sorry for what I done. I didn't mean to hurt you. She said, Dad, to be honest, man, a lot of people find this hard to believe, but I never knew you so good. She said, because I saw you getting up every morning going to work. She said, but it made me wonder sometimes about the little guys I would run into every time I hooked me up with your daddy.
Yeah.
Now the picture coming full circle, I understand now.
Exactly.
But she said, you ain't do nothing to make my life better.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said too. Like, because I talked with her also.
Right.
Yeah, man, that is crazy, man. So, like, do you remember talking to little Malik that day?
My grandson?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he was tore up, you know what I'm saying? He was tore up, man. The exact words, all I really tried to do was reassure him, man, that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But, the news media played it like they bust me down here with the dope, all this, slandering this thing, man,
That's what the streets say too.
And it was far from the truth.
Yeah.
They didn't find nothing down here. Everything they found was over here with me in my wife's truck.
Okay.
So when I went to that well-known lawyer, he never looked at the fine print to clarify what I was trying to tell him. But when the lady who turned us on to this lawyer that I wound up hiring, when I first went up to his house and met him that day and had the consultation with him, as he was reading the paperwork, he was just like, what I read in the newspaper and from your paperwork is totally opposite. The paperwork said that they didn't bust you at the restaurant. So he immediately jumps on the phone even before I hired him.
Yeah.
He called down to the news station. He was at the newspaper. He was like, look, y'all need to make a retraction, man. This man just hired me, which I hadn't. He said, man, y'all lied about this man, got busted at the restaurant with this dope. Don't nothing in here say it. So they agreed to do it, but they wrote it in such a small, you had to have a microphone glass.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Boy.
So right then it let me know that, hey man, you my guy.
Yeah,
I'm hire
for
you.
sure.
I'm a hire you.
Yeah.
So I hired him. He charged me $65,000 to take my case. Okay. So when my lawyer first came to me with a plea bargain from the DA, they said we give him and his wife 15 years day for day. Now mind you, a lot of people
and your wife.
you got to hear the end of the story, boy. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So a couple of weeks later, man, I get a call. My wife got a cousin that's in prison that kind of like, guided me.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, when they offered me and my wife that 15 day for day, I didn't get mad. I just told God then. I said, I appreciate what you done, man. And I think this is why God reacted the way he did with me. I said, but I know you do better work.
Yeah.
Because that 15 day for day sounded a whole lot better than life without.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks later, I get a call from a lawyer. He said, hey, man, they done came down there. They offering you a 20 split 5, and they're going to give your wife probation. Ooh, I said, 20 split 5.
That sounds like a damn plan right there to me. Like with all that, and they done caught me like, yeah. Go ahead.
So as I'm going through the motion, I get it. My wife's cousin that I told you that's in prison. I'm telling him what's happening. But first they said they were gonna give me a 15 split 3, which is an illegal sentence. So he said, let them give you that. That'll give you grounds to come back to court. You know what I'm saying? You may be released. So when it's ball game time, we go to court that morning. I got a Muslim brother that used to be a sheriff deputy.
Yeah.
I had got with the NAACP and because I know some people.
Yeah.
So I had told at the time the director of the NAACP that, hey man, I'm going to court this morning, and she said she was gonna be there. So as we sitting out in the hall and they going back and forth doing their little thing, man, my lawyer said, hey, as me and my wife was coming off the parkway, turning on Clinton, come around overhead, my lawyer called me and said, I want you to plead guilty, man. He said, them suppression issues that we got, man, is strong. I said, okay, cool. So I tell my wife, I said, hey, I ain't pleading guilty. She started crying. She's like, man, if they find both of us guilty, man, who gonna be there for the kid? Who gonna lose the restaurant? I manned up right there. And I said, you know what, you said something. So we get to the courthouse that day. My Muslim buddy there, and unbeknownst to me, just me, him, and my wife.
Yeah.
So the DA shooting stuff back and forth. So he telling my wife, she got to plead guilty. My wife said, I ain't pleading guilty to a damn thing.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't pleading guilty. He already said he gonna plead guilty. Tell him we gonna strike it up.
Yeah.
My lawyer went immediately and told him. He come back. He said, we're gonna drop all the charges against her. If he'll plead to this 20 split 5, and she agreed to pay court costs, we good. So I said, okay, I'll take you sign the paper. The judge said, man, again, don't throw no mud in my face, man. Turn yourself in March the 14th, man.
And how long did it give?
10 days. March the 14th, man.
Yeah.
That Sunday, like my daughter had said, we had a little going away thing, man, at the house. That Monday, man, I ain't sleep none that night, because I'm coming into an environment that I'm not familiar with.
I know, you can't sleep.
Can't sleep,
It's heavy
man.
on you, yeah.
I go and turn myself in that Monday, man.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of people that worked up there was waiting on me, man. And it was beautiful. It was a bad situation, but God made it beautiful.
Yeah.
So as they was taking me back to my cell that day, man, a lieutenant that I never met in my life, man, told me, hey, you Maurice, ain't you? I said, yeah. He said, we got a mutual friend. And they told me you ain't never been in this situation. He said, before the end of the day, before the end of this week, you'll be over there in the honor dome. So because of the favor that God put on my life, when I was in the county, when they put me in the cell, they made me a trustee right out the rip.
That is crazy. I never even heard them doing that. So that just let you know that
The favor. One up, man. One up.
man.
So when I get there, and some people that I knew that worked up there, they were like, man, you already in for the honor dome. You gonna know it over there. I'm like, man, I like it right here.
Yeah.
I like it right here. This cool. So when I get up there to the honor dome, man, everything that I thought was 10 times better.
Yeah.
So some of my partners that was already locked up, they was on the laundry crew, which the laundry crew allowed you to get out your cell every day and go all the different parts of the county jail and pass out linen.
Yeah.
So the lady that was in charge of it at the time, she had came down here some months before, man, and on a Thursday, I never will forget because it was a meatloaf day.
Yeah.
And she was a sister, and she come up to the counter right there, and I was up there. She said, listen, man, the place was packed. It wasn't sitting room. All they was doing was standing, man. And she said, look, I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers. She said, but I got to be at work, man, and I got 30 minutes to get there. if you could expedite my situation, man, get me to work on time, man, I really appreciate it. I blessed her. I got her to work on time, not knowing her credentials or who she was up there.
For sure.
So when I get there, some of my partners that working on the crew, they saw me and they was like, man, we got to get him on our team. We got to get him. We need him.
Yeah.
So one of my partners that was on the team died, and it gave me the ability to be on there. So she come to my cell, and I didn't even see her. Some of my cellmates in there, they like, there she go right there.
Yeah.
So she was way down the hallway, man, way away, and I'd holler. I said, hey, miss, you supposed to put me on your team. I'm thinking that I'm just, hollering on deaf ears.
Yeah.
She turns around and she come back and she said, what size clothes you wear? I said, extra large. She said, move him over to that cell over there. From that day on, I started working for her. But this what was the cake, the icing on the cake. When she sat there and she explained to me, she said this. She said, listen. She said, there's two things that I like about you. She said, the first one was the day you helped me down at your restaurant to get my food and get out. She said, and the second was, she said, I've seen a lot of people come through this situation like you. She said, you manned up and took your case. A lot of brothers put it on their old ladies. They out in the street doing what they doing.
Damn right. Yeah, you manned up, man. And that say a lot about your character too, man. Like real talk.
On the normal circumstances, you stay in the county, man, for forever. But I was blessed to stay up there for about 35, 36 days. Okay. So my transition from the county jail to prison, you round some people that have been to prison, so they kind of like lace you up, to get you prepared for it.
Yeah.
But they can't never get you prepared for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So they wake you up. They got a hurry up and wait game in prison. They wake you up at 1:30 to leave at 8 or 9 o'clock that day. You know what I'm saying? Pack up all your stuff. So if we transition to going from Huntsville, Alabama to Montgomery to Kilby, that's the in-processing place that you go when they transfer you to prison. Okay. So, they belittle you when you get there, pull your clothes off, look all up your tail and all kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So, the prison is so old and dilapidated, man, it's crazy. Yeah. So when I get there, man, we going through the process of being in process, shots and records and all this type of stuff. Once we done did that, they take you out of quarantine, what they call it, and put you somewhere until you're being ready to transfer. So they put me in the building that they put me in. I had been there for a minute. So the guy went out at one of the counselors there, he was telling me, he's like, man, this being your first time, if you had 90 days to spend with me, man, I can send you to like a level honor camp, which is right there with a work release. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have to go to a hard prison. Yeah. So I had been there, man, like I say, down there probably a month or so. And my family, my wife didn't want to come see me, but I was like, nah, man, don't waste no gas. Wait till they transfer me. But my mindset is that I'm going to be here for 90 days. You feel me? I'm going to be here for 90 days. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. But they wake me up in the morning about 1:30. They be like, hey, Russell, pack all your stuff, transfer. I said, no, you got the wrong person, man. Nah. Yeah. So they called my AIS number out, and it was the same AIS number. They like, yeah, so you on transfer. Yeah. Pack your stuff up. So I pack my stuff up. We go down to this little holding place that they got us. So we sitting down waiting. So they take us to breakfast. We leave. We come back. So they going through your property, check your property. But I'm quick on games, so I'm looking. Everybody that they were sending to an honor camp or work release, they would be handcuffed. For the people that's going to prison, once you step up there and you give them your AIS number and they verify who you are, they handcuff you. So as is my time, I'm looking at some people that's getting handcuffed, some not. So as I step up there that day and they give my AIS number, they handcuff me. So I'm like, whoa, I'm going to prison. Not knowing where I'm going. So when we leave Kilby that morning, that day, I'm saying, when we come out the prison, I'm like, Lord, wherever you sending me, don't send me south, send me north. Yeah. Send me north. And lo and behold, they sent me to the biggest prison in the state of Alabama. The state prison was Limestone. So as we coming through that gate, man, I'm blown away. But I got to go back and tell you this right quick. As I was going through the processing part, they killed me. Once they took me out and they put me what they call permanent party. Because they was pretty much waiting on my orders. They was undecided what they were gonna do with it. Yeah. So as I was fighting not to be put in the kitchen to work, I told man I could cut hair, I do maintenance and everything. Yeah. But God plan be so much better than our plan. We can't see what's happening. That's sure. So everything was denied. They put me in the kitchen. But God said, I gave you the ability to finesse things. You gotta finesse it, make it work for you. Yeah. Okay. It wasn't designed for you, so make it work for you. So as I'm going through the motion that day, you know, I'm going in there and they interviewing for the job they finna give me. It's this big old white dude sitting behind the desk. So he got my record. Mind you, I go to prison at 49 years old.
Yeah.
So as the white dude looking at my jacket, my jacket, my paperwork, he looked under, he said, we've been waiting on you for 49 years. I felt that smile. And I took it at a lot of people like, man, how could you judge it as being racial? I'm feeling like it's a racial comment because, you know, here I am black and you like, we know you was coming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it belittled me, but it strengthened me too to be like, hey man, this is a place I never want to be back in. I don't want nobody to control me.
Sure.
So as I get to Limestone that day, man, I'm walking, I'm like blown away. I'm like, whoa, I'm at the biggest prison in the state of Alabama, man. And a guy that had owed me some money, that had came down here and borrowed some money from me, he was an inmate at Limestone. So when he saw me walking across the field with my property, his eyes got big. He looked at me like, whoa, I owe this money. Let me come over here help him. Because he was a career criminal. He already knew his way through the system. I'm a rookie.
Yeah.
So as we walking across the field going to where I was going to be living at, he see this officer sitting over there. He said, hold it, man. We got to go here and talk to this officer right here to keep you from going in the kitchen. As we walk over there to talk to the officer, he introduced me. He said, hey, officer, such and such, this is Maurice from G. He's like, whoa, I know him.
Yeah.
We got a mutual friend, man. He good.
Yeah.
He's like, man, whatever you need, bro, you holler at me, I got you.
Damn.
God, man.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah, man.
So I'm thinking he just pulling my leg. I'm just getting here. I'm
Yeah.
thinking he pulling my leg. This is what he tell me. He's, man, anything you want, man, you holler at me, I got you. I said, bro, all I'm trying to do is chew. All I want to do is eat, man.
Yeah.
He's, man, you call your folks, you set it up, I go pick it up. For the whole year that I was at Limestone, that brother made it happen.
Yeah.
Was a real brother. He made it happen.
100.
I ain't trying to sell no dope. That's what put me here. All I want to do is eat some free world food.
Yeah.
So
it
it
made it happen.
made it happen.
Damn right.
So as me and him developed a relationship, like I told him, do one night stand. We developed a relationship.
Yeah.
Some other officers heard that I was there that had heard about me, wanted to meet me. So this one officer, man, wasn't even from Huntsville. He knew a homeboy of mine. He said, man, I heard some people talking about this dude. I want to meet him. I want to, make my own assessment of what I think about it.
Yeah.
I go over there, he bring me over there where he stayed. He was on the A side. There's two sides of the Limestone, A side and B side. He bring me over there to the A side. He working lockup. We sat there and we chopped up about 30 minutes. He said, man, everything that I heard about you is true. You're a good dude. So I was telling him, I was like, hey man, my other dude, he's straight, man. He's listen. I'm doing a dinner for 60 locker inmates for Thanksgiving. He said, man, I'm gonna bring you some of my food and I want you to give me your honest opinion on what you think. So I said, okay, cool. I'm thinking he's shooting the breeze. Thanksgiving come around. He said, man, listen, I'm finna make this happen, man. He make it happen. So as me and him going through the transition, he called me back over to where he wasn't at.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, he was like, come back over here and see me. So I go over there and see him. I see another officer walking out the queue. He got his hand extended out to shake my hand. I'm shaking his hand. I'm looking at his name tag, but I'm like, I don't know this dude from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
He's telling me, he said, man, you don't know me, but I'm married to this girl, and her mom is crazy about you, man. You grew up with them out there in Norway.
Right.
Your mom
Just
crazy.
that energy, man, and like you know, you done brought so much positive energy around, man. Like everywhere you went, you just got love like that, man. That's a beautiful story, man. And I mean, it's the worst conditions, but it's to see the beauty in the worst shit, though. You know what I'm saying?
A diamond don't come out from the beginning like the ending.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
A diamond don't come out, they have to go through the fire to be that diamond.
Yeah.
So when I'm meeting this other officer, man, everybody get on board. He's like, man, my mama-in-law crazy about you. You grew up with her kids. Y'all, this and his wife worked up there too. So he sent me up there immediately after I get to talk to him. They like, man, we're gonna do everything we can for you. You just gotta keep her hush up. I said, I don't kiss and tell.
Yeah.
It's good.
Right. Yeah.
So the whole time I'm there, I'm getting all this love, man. I'm getting all this love. And Limestone was a breeze to me because all I did was, work out, eat, and read.
And where did you spend the rest? You said you was there for 1 year?
Yeah.
And where you spent the rest of your time at?
Decatur working league. And what I did, man.
Come on, man, that's lovely. Like you see, that's just a blessing, man, all the way, man. You know what I'm saying? You didn't even really have to leave far from the crib, man. Like that's how God set you up like that, man. Like, yeah.
Let me ask you this,
Yeah.
But you can keep talking to bro.
Yeah,
when
go
I
ahead,
ask the
go
question,
ahead.
keep talking.
Yeah.
Like you looking at him.
Yeah, I got you.
What's the worst thing you saw in prison? Like in that situation? Like,